Week 5, Fantasy Facts Machine, Georgia Truth Factory, Fuchs, Kev, let's get lucky, Lou. And we're here to talk about some hidden gems because the waiver wires are getting a little bit dry at this point in the season. That there's definitely some guys you can still pick up that have some upside. The first one is a guy who's done a lot with not much to work with. Marvin Mims Jr. on the Denver Broncos returned to kickoff for a touchdown, gets about 2 to 3 targets per game, but somehow finds 80 yards every game or so. What do you think about him?
I mean, I think the fact that he gets 2 to 3 targets a game is the ire of all internet rage. You know, kid is incredibly talented. Obviously, he was at Oklahoma. He was drafted.
He's electric.
He is
not just talented. He's
Every time
electric.
he touches the ball, you get excited about it. But at the same time, Judy's running his routes. Sutton's running his routes. Denver's bad. They won last week, but they're
so
good.
bad. They spend the whole second half throwing the ball all over the place.
And why isn't Mims getting more touches, right?
Yeah.
He's somebody that I'm not, if you have him, I'm not dropping. If he's available, I'm picking up. I'm still high on him because he's the kind of guy that with the way their season is progressing, I think he could have a couple of those breakout games. And I don't know if it's going to be in terms of volume and receptions, but the big play kind of guys that are going to be available, there's not going to be anybody higher than him.
All right, sounds good. I mean, I like him. I had him at the beginning of the season. I had high hopes for him because there was a rumor going around that Russell Wilson really wanted him to get drafted by the team, and I don't know if that's true or not. But how about a guy who's kind of been around for a couple years now, Jerick McKinnon, who had 2 touchdowns a couple weeks ago. Last year, he had 9 receiving touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. He's a running back. He's bound to have another 2-touchdown game. What do you think about him?
The issue is just the lack of volume there. And again, we're arguing that Mims' lack of volume isn't an issue while McKinnon's is, but the shares in the Kansas City backfield are insane right now. Just watching their Sunday night game, you know, Tony is coming back and lining up in the backfield half the time. Sky Moore is going to be getting some touches out of there. And this isn't
those plays aren't working, though. I watched that game. Those plays aren't working.
But it doesn't even count the fact that Pacheco is finally building the rapport, but he's building the trust that where he's the main running back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a first-round pick, mind you, a couple of years ago, he's still there. He's still getting runs. So what McKinnon does is incredibly dependent and not on matchup. It's on, maybe we'll throw him in there. Maybe we won't.
You know what? You're right. I've heard enough. He's not worth it. He's not a gem. I get it. It was a bad call on my part.
No gem.
How about Jameson Williams? Wide receiver. The guy's barely played any games in his NFL career. He's like a top 10 pick.
Sure.
He's coming back. He's dealing with St. Brown. He's dealing with Reynolds, but he's super talented. He's like Garrett Wilson part 2.
Possibly. I mean, we don't know that yet because the guy, you know, really likes DraftKings, but
yeah, but he just got his suspension cut down.
He did.
I mean, he's already got the momentum going.
Listen, if he's available, I'm more interested in him because there's some rumors that St. Brown's back might not be okay. He's questionable for this week. I'm not telling you that Williams is going to come in and be the one right away, but that offense is going to throw the ball. You know, Reynolds, Raymond, you know, the options aren't great. I actually personally, you know, I can't give us too much credit always, but we talked about Laporta at the beginning of the year. Laporta looks incredible.
Well, we do actually. We've talked about a lot of guys who could have saved a lot of games for a lot of people, but we're not going to get into that right now.
No, of course not. We're above that.
How about okay? You still have more to say about Williams? Because I got another guy who's coming out.
He's a hidden gem.
Williams, if he's available, I would get him. He's not as available as some of these other guys, but Jonnu Smith, the other tight end for the Atlanta Falcons, who's getting about 50% snap share, who's beating Pitts in receiving yardage, I believe, at this point in the season. How do you feel about him?
I mean, is this one of those spots where everybody in the entire world hypes up Jonnu Smith? We hype up Jonnu Smith, and Pitts has his first good game as a pro? It's a chance, but I'm not going to hype him up. But honestly, the sad thing about it all is the lack of Pitts. Pitts was the 8th overall pick in the draft a couple of years ago. You know, like,
well, we've given him some opportunities.
I don't think he's the opportunity.
Wasted opportunities.
Jonnu Smith is a guy that's been around the league for a long time.
But I can tell you that Ritter, aka the Riddler, loves to go to Jonnu Smith a lot more than he likes to go to Pitts, and a lot more than he likes to go to Drake London, which is puzzling to me.
He's a limited quarterback.
Yeah.
If we're being diplomatically and politically correct. So Jonnu, based on the Ritter factor, is not a hidden gem. He's a passable waiver wire pickup if your tight end is on bye or hurt. That's it.
So he is not a hidden gem.
Not even close.
All right. What about a guy who may not be as hidden as these other guys, if you're a Minnesota Vikings fan, who's probably on the hidden gem list every season and does not pan out? KJ Osborne, wide receiver, Minnesota Vikings, is getting way more snap counts than Addison, which is befuddling.
Yeah, but again, snap counts is one thing, target share is another thing. Like, no matter who's there, it's Jefferson 1, Hawkinson 2, right? So whoever the third guy is, he's going to be relatively limited, which kind of limits his gem upside if we're defining that term. Osborne is fine, solid. He's made a couple pretty bad drops this year, all things considered, but he's not going to wow you. If you're sticking him in as your third wide receiver or even your flex, I'm a little worried about the depth of your team.
So is he even a plug and play? A streamer, as they say?
A desperate one.
A desperate streamer, KJ Osborne. Well, there you go. 2 out of 5. That's not bad. So Jameson Williams and the other guy we were talking about.
Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta. No, Sam Laporta's taken. But yeah, those are the hidden gems. Marvin Mims Jr.
Marvin Mims Jr. is for sure a gem if he's available. Listen, it's hard to find gems. It's week 5. But
yeah, but that's why we got to find the hidden ones.
And you got to be early about it because you can find somebody. You know what? Let me give you one gem right now if he's still available.
Let me hear it.
This could be one of the worst offenses in the league. I don't like this.
Roshan Johnson?
No. I'm going to go with Wan'Dale Robinson.
Ah.
Kid was second-round pick out of Kentucky. He was great last year, tore his ACL. He came back last week. He's getting all those Danny Jones dump-offs.
He was playing a superior team last week, so you can't really judge him against the Seahawks.
But seriously, Wan'Dale is going to be available more than most of these other guys, and this is the kind of guy that's going to get the volume, surprisingly so, if you're in a full PPR league. Highly recommend picking him up if he's available.
Well, there it is, a bonus hidden gem. This is George the Truth Factory Fuchs. I'm Kev Lou, Fantasy Facts Machine. Feel free to follow, like, subscribe. We appreciate it. Peace.
Set up my squad, wake up and pray. Turn on the tube, don't believe what they say. Get out my way, I got sleepers to play. Shooting my shot and I seen who you waved. You waving the flag, I'm just chasing the bag. All my team special, we taking it back. Doing our dance while you blaming the draft. I'm a machine, just stating the facts. I'm a machine, just stating the facts. I'm a machine, just stating the facts. I'm a machine, just stating the facts.